We could start to gather in here. I think we're going to try and get going. So just want to welcome you. I'm Jeff Zofel, Village Administrator for Village of Montgomery. I'd like to start out and thank the MEDC and the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event. Also like to thank Schaefer's for all the greenery you see here all around. Local florists have provided all that for us. Then I'm not going to waste my time up here. I'm going to get you the reason why you're here. It is my pleasure to introduce the Village President of the Village of Montgomery, Matt Brolly.
And there's enough seats for everybody, so come on down. Awesome. Take away, Jess. All right. So good morning and welcome, everyone. I really do appreciate your attendance here today. As is customary, would like to first thank my wife, who's streaming live on the internet today, watching this. She's always been a very big supporter of our efforts here in Montgomery, and definitely appreciate her support. Also want to acknowledge the several elected officials that are here today that took time out of their schedules, very busy schedules, to be here with us today. We have a representative with Congressman Bill Foster's office. I don't have that on the list. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. We have State Representative Mark Batnick. Awesome. And State Representative Stephanie Kifowit. There she is. Awesome. County Board Member from Kendall County, Scott Greider. Thank you for coming. And then we also have, actually have the Deputy Mayor from the City of Aurora here. Thank you for coming. And most importantly, the Village Board members from Montgomery that are here, Doug Marasek, Steve Youngerman, and Denny Lee in the back. So really appreciate. We're actually here last night until 11:59 at our 5-hour board meeting, longest one of my career. Hopefully we never do that again. But I do appreciate everybody showering up and getting here early. Also pleased to welcome representatives from Waubonsie Community College, Aurora University, the Kane-Kendall Council of Mayors, and the Aurora Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. If they're a member from any of those agencies here, if you want to stand up, just so. Awesome. Thank you so much. We also have a representative from various school districts, fire protection districts, the library districts, park districts that serve our communities, as well as business leaders. They can't stress that enough, that nothing that we do here is as impactful as businesses moving into our community with options for our consumers and also good paying jobs. For the first time ever, like I was commenting on, we're live streaming this on our website. And so welcome to those of you who are watching the online feed. We're giving this address a little bit later in the year than we normally do. Gave us some time to get the new audio-visual equipment installed. In the last 2 weeks, we're looking for innovative approaches, really to make a better end-user experience for our meetings and for events like this. We wanted the system to be intuitive and easy to use, and using the most advanced technology. One of the most obvious changes is the big screen to the left works with the new high-def laser projector. And also presenters at our board meetings now will have the opportunity to plug in their laptop for their presentations directly into the system, which really helps really conveying their projects to the village board and to the residents. And lastly, all of the audio equipment in this room has been updated and replaced with the exception of the speakers. So I hope that everybody here is hearing me crisp and clean today. But do appreciate staff working really up until the last minute to kind of get everything ready to roll. I appreciate all of your support and your interest in Montgomery, and obviously that's what we're here today to talk about. I hope you're all as proud as I am of what we've been able to accomplish in 2017 and what we look to accomplish in 2018. This annual address is really our time to report back to you regarding some of our accomplishments of the past year. And we've enjoyed a great year of business growth, financial stability, and infrastructure improvements. As an engineer, I'm required to say infrastructure every 5 minutes, but it's something I'm very passionate about. And I'm going to share some of these with you today. One of our greatest accomplishments over the last year was the establishment of the Montgomery Development Fund. This is a new program that provides local businesses with opportunities for a forgivable loan from the village for up to $10,000 or to receive a low-interest loan from the village. As previously announced, the board has approved the first two applications for this program: South Moon Barbecue to repair the elevator in the old grist mill building across the street, and then Linex Linings for the remodeling of their new location and to add equipment. This is a great way for us to support our businesses and to remain healthy and competitive in the market. This past year, we were also very happy to welcome several new businesses to Montgomery. On Orchard Road, we're excited to welcome Fuller's Car Wash, and Old Dominion Freight Lines opened up a brand-new facility, distribution facility off of Alcott Road in Montgomery. And we're also particularly excited about the opening of the new Aurora University Sports Complex on Jericho Road, welcoming Aurora University into the village of Montgomery really for the first time. The first phase of this complex opened in 2017, which included a softball stadium and a dual-use soccer and lacrosse stadium, and this year they'll be expanding to add a baseball field. And on the east side of the town, a new 4-tenant retail building opened up in the Ogden Hill Shopping Center, which houses Dunkin' Donuts, Valley View Dental, Batteries Plus, and Lily's Nail Spa, which really is your one-stop shop for your morning, your dental, and then you can get your batteries and your nails in one facility, which is great. But please do check that out. Really seeing a lot more expansion in that area. And to keep on the dental theme, we also pleased to welcome West Suburban Dental, who moved their practice into Montgomery, into the former Associated Bank facility. If you haven't been there since they've opened, really made quite the transformation inside that building, and looks to be a very prominent business for our future here. So on the residential side, one of our biggest successes in the last year was amending the annexation agreement for Huntington Chase. So we have 46 lots that have left to be developed out there. And so really amending this and nailing down the requirements there allows those lots to be purchased by a new developer, which is great for the area, but also allows the rest of the public improvements, the street trees and the sidewalks, to then be installed in that subdivision. I know the residents in that subdivision are very excited and interested in this moving forward, because it's been a long, 10 years on that project. Although the economy continues to improve, there's still a lot of uncertainty due to the state's financial situation. Fortunately, the village board here in Montgomery has always been very financially responsible and has taken important steps to ensure the stability of our finances. The village board and our departments continually seek new ways to save money for our citizens while still providing the same essential services. For the 5th year in a row, the village board has frozen property taxes on existing structures, and we continue to provide a high level of services to our residents while holding the line on expenses. And we recognize that the portion of the tax bill that you pay directly to Montgomery is relatively small, about $350 on a $7,000 tax bill. And that's the only portion of the bill, of your tax bill, that we are allowed to freeze. I'm sure some of you would love us to freeze some of those other ones. But with taxes so high, and they're painfully high here in Illinois, we're all aware of that, we're doing what we can to improve our services, to do what we do more efficiently, and holding the line on our taxes. In addition, we still offer our annual property tax rebate for residents. This year, we're on target to rebate approximately $116,000 to residents. If you recall, this was included with our sales tax referendum. And so residents continue to apply for that rebate, and we rebate the funds back to the residents each year. We're continually seeking new ways to improve and reduce our expenses and save our taxpayers money. Our innovative method of controlling expenses is to partner with neighboring communities to share equipment, staff, or services. We have a shared services agreement currently with the Village of Oswego and Yorkville, and this past year added Sugar Grove to that agreement. So instead of one community purchasing equipment that may only be seldom used, it's more economical for us to share the equipment between communities. Similarly, Oswego and Montgomery have partnered on our pre-icing road treatment for the past 2 years, which reduces staff time and expenses. I believe they make the brine and we spray it on the road, so if you've seen the stripes a few days before it snows, you don't need to watch the Weather Channel anymore. You know that snow is coming to Montgomery and Oswego. My dad actually said that to me. And so kind of as a result of that, we're honored to have, in 2017, earned an award from the American Council of Engineering Companies for a sub-regional plan for sustainable drinking water that was done cooperatively with the Village of Montgomery, Oswego, and Yorkville. And these joint projects can reduce duplicate efforts and increase efficiency and economies of scale for everyone involved. Our 3 communities also received an award from Transform America in recognition of that water study and other shared services. And these projects are only possible with the forward-thinking elected officials and staff here in Montgomery, but also in Yorkville and Oswego, and I appreciate their shared passion for continually improving the level of services that we all provide. This past year, we negotiated an amended dispatch agreement, as well as a new records agreement with KenCom. The approval of these 2 agreements will save the village approximately $1.3 million over the next 10 years, and is yet another example of working with other communities to save money as we worked with Kendall County, the Village of Oswego, and Yorkville again. We're also happy to announce the successful refunding of the Lakewood Creek Special Assessment bonds in January, which will result in significant cost savings for affected homeowners. The incredible response to the refunding will lead to a cost reduction of $144,000 annually, which equates to $210 per household in the Lakewood Creek area. Lakewood Creek subdivision is our only subdivision in Montgomery that has the special assessment. We're very happy that this refunding will result in significantly lower payments for our homeowners there. Again, this is a great example of the village and our staff being proactive, looking at ways to reduce costs for our residents wherever possible. If you recall, the village board approved revised investment policies in 2014 and then again in 2018, which really provides guidelines for investing of our cash reserves. And so the village has been able to increase our interest income from a low of $9,000 in 2014 to over $100,000 in fiscal year 2018. The amount is expected to grow even further in fiscal year 2019 as we've budgeted $130,000, and would be remiss if I didn't introduce and thank our Director of Finance, Justin Van Voren, for his help in that regard. One of the major accomplishments this past year was the passage of our referendum, sales tax referendum in 2014 that provided a 1% non-home rule sales tax for infrastructure improvements only. Thanks to this new revenue source, in 2018, we were able to repave or rehabilitate approximately 4 miles of roadway at a total cost of more than $1.8 million, all paid for with the new sales tax, along with motor fuel tax funds. In 2017, saw approximately 7.5 miles of roadway, including sidewalk and curb repair and replacement, with an investment of over $3 million. For those of you that were involved in that process, if you recall, we were on almost a 70-year cycle on repaving our roads, and if you've driven on a road that hasn't been maintained or replaced in 70 years, you're essentially driving on gravel at that point. And that was deemed unacceptable by the village board here and also our residents, and so they overwhelmingly passed the referendum that included the property tax rebates that year. For the first time this past year, we used an asphalt slurry which was applied to Briarcliff Road. The slurry is applied shortly after resurfacing and helps fill the small crevices that can cause the roads to deteriorate more quickly. We anticipate that this will extend the useful life of Briarcliff pavement by approximately 10 years at a really fraction of the cost to seal that. The graph shows how our sales tax has significantly increased the amount of road work that can be funded each year. It gives me a great sense of accomplishment to have secured an ongoing funding mechanism that will continue to benefit the village and its residents long into the future. Infrastructure is critical, and our ability to keep our infrastructure in good shape will have a lasting effect in our community, not only for our residents, but also for our businesses and the future businesses that we're moving into Montgomery. We're also constantly working to maintain our water system infrastructure. A Waterworks System Master Plan was undertaken to help identify a long-term sustainable source for our community that was completed in April of 2017. The village again worked with Oswego and Yorkville to determine the best solution for our future water needs and also for a sub-regional plan for all of us to combine and work at that together. One of the recommendations in that plan was to implement a water main replacement program to address areas of high concentration of water main breaks. What we're finding and what we've seen in Illinois even and across the country is not investing in our infrastructure like we should. You should be doing about 1% of your water main replacement every single year. And the reality is that most people don't make that a priority, and it's something that's very important to us here and to the long-term stability of our region. We were able to jumpstart our water main replacement program with the issuance of bonds in June of 2017. The funds have already been used to replace water main on Hartway Drive. The remainder will be used for replacement of the Martin subdivision water main, replacement of lead service lines, and an upgrade to the Jefferson Street and Route 25 lift stations. Take a break. In 2017, we began using a new leaf collection technology to provide this service with fewer demands on our staff, allowing us to reassign staff to other priority tasks. Historically, the program required a two-man crew and took approximately 200 man-hours per week to pick up the leaves. The new machine now requires just one staff person to operate, and it reduces the amount of staff time by 75%, and should also add that it's safer than the situation that we had before for everybody involved. This last year, we contracted a new landscape maintenance firm, Cornerstone Partners Horticultural Services Company. In just 1 year, we've seen a tremendous improvement of the appearance and health of our landscape areas. In fact, and you're going to fact check me on this, we have not received one complaint out of this contract or our landscape areas in 2017. Really an area where we generally do receive a lot more comments from residents, and so really look forward to working with them. Just last night, the board approved a contract extension with that firm so they can work through this year as well, and would love to keep moving forward with that. In addition, we planted 300 new parkway trees, really a commitment to the villages and Trustee Steve Youngerman's commitment to parkway trees and replacing those. As you know, with the emerald ash borer that moved through the area, seriously impacted the trees and still is. I think your street, my dad and several folks had their trees chopped down just last year. And so it's a long-term process, but really having a plan for that and getting those trees replaced has been a priority of ours, and it is quite expensive, and so we're having to spread that out over time. This past year, MetroNet completed their infrastructure development throughout Montgomery in just 11 months. The project was supposed to take 2 years. Really need to give credit to staff who worked through the Julie tickets on that in a quick manner, allowed them to get their system up and running. They're now providing high-speed fiber optic service, is available throughout Montgomery, giving our residents an additional option for internet and cable TV. The village also continues to promote our conservation by maintaining naturalized stormwater detention and retention basins. These naturalized basins throughout Montgomery help improve water quality of our stormwater before it discharges into our streams and our rivers. It's also improved the aesthetic value through the use of native plantings and are a host to improve habitats for butterflies, bees, rabbits, fish, and other creatures. Staff was honored to receive yet another Conservation at Work Award for their efforts in the Balmarais subdivision. And this past year, we negotiated a new refuse and recycling contract with DC Trash. We're providing additional services at a lesser cost for most residents. Our residents now enjoy unlimited trash and recycling pickup each week, plus quarterly recycling events that take electronics, including TVs, as well as hazardous household materials. Furthermore, yard waste bags and bundles of brush are no longer required to purchase a sticker, which was always a headache, I think, for everybody. These changes are going to save residents nearly $130,000 per year. And under this contract, we have achieved a 41% diversion rate, meaning that 41% of the waste is being diverted from landfills through recycling, which is well above the national average of 25%. So as you can see, 2017 was a busy and productive year during which we made significant progress while holding the line on our expenses. And we're looking forward to 2018 and beyond. There are several items that we'll be focusing on specifically. Some extremely exciting news for Montgomery is that Carl Buddig and Company has purchased the former Butterball meatpacking facility that closed in mid-2017. The Buddig operation will provide full-time employment for around 250 employees and also seasonal work. This is a great success story with the village and the MEDC, where's Shar? Highlight Shar and the work with the MEDC to fill this vacancy and bring a great family-owned business to Montgomery in such a short time. So we do appreciate everybody's efforts on that. My top priority in 2018 is going to be to help facilitate the reuse or redevelopment of the Caterpillar facility. Although Caterpillar is not specifically located in the corporate limits of Montgomery, its plant's closure will have, honestly, a ripple effect, I think, in our local economy, impacting our residents here in Montgomery and also in the area. So I'm happy to work with stakeholders. I guess when the facility announced that they would be closing, local stakeholders, really the village president in Oswego, Gail Johnson, the Kendall County Chairman Scott Greider, and I put together a task force to look at this issue because it's a bigger issue than just one of our communities. It's something that we're all going to need to work together to come to a solution. And I look forward to working with all of them on that process this next year. During the coming year, we'll be promoting the Montgomery Development Fund and look forward to working with new or existing businesses and offer support with help from this program. The economy is always key, and with the improvement in the economy, we have seen an increased interest in commercial development. We've received new plans and proposals from several developers that we are very excited about. As you may have seen, Earthmover Credit Union is building a new facility in Montgomery on Baseline Road. I think we have a representative from Earthmovers here. Awesome, thank you. I've seen that under construction, very excited about that. As I understand it, the existing facility will be used as their new corporate headquarters, and the new building will include offices and drive-through services. So again, nice to see an existing Montgomery business expanding in our community and providing those services to our residents. Recently, the village board approved the Montgomery Place Apartments, which is an upscale 468 apartment development near Route 30 and Goodwin Drive that will include a clubhouse, a pool, and a dog park. And we look forward to working with S.R. Jacobson and Edward Rosensons as this project moves forward. And we will continue to seek new ways to reduce expenses that will still provide those same essential services to our residents. For example, in the past, our Public Works Department has provided that monthly brush pickup that we talked about. However, with the new contract, we won't need to be doing that as frequently. In 2018, we'll be reducing that bulk pickup to twice annually, once in the spring and the fall. And this will save us money and man hours and really diverting our precious resources, which is our employees, to other tasks that are much more pressing in the area. We'll also continue to save money through that shared services and our equipment and training. Our focus on infrastructure, you should ring a bell every time I say that, improvements will continue in 2017. We'll begin planning the replacement of nearly 100 lead service lines in the Marbury Manor subdivision, and currently working on funding and are planning for this work to take place in 2019. Again, a top priority of ours to get those lead service lines replaced, and there's a great EPA program that's available for us to do so. This summer, we've scheduled water main replacement on Riverside Drive in the Martin subdivision. We've also planned an ambitious roadway program that includes sidewalk repairs and roadway resurfacing, as well as the quiet zone along the railroad tracks in downtown Montgomery. And I know a lot of people have been very excited and anxious about that for several years. And actually, just last night, the village approved the sidewalk gap plan that you see the big print in the room back there, which is really, we have this phenomenal network of bike trails and sidewalks that were installed over the decades, but on the west side of town, as long as new development went in, they installed this great network. But what we realized is either through the downturn or just through interagency failures, some of these don't quite connect. And so we have this great system that doesn't quite go where we want it to go. And so what the village did, working with our engineer and our public works department, is to develop a plan for connecting those dots, really making it possible for folks to hop on a bike trail and, let's say, get to the Virgil Gilman Trail or get to the library on the east side of town. And so this is a top priority of mine. Anybody with a child in a stroller or in a wheelchair that's using these facilities, one 30-foot gap in sidewalk would prohibit people from using that. And so really doing what we can do to plug those up. In 2018, the Village of Montgomery is participating in a year-long celebration of Illinois' bicentennial year. You may have noticed the bicentennial flag flying in front of the building today. We've scheduled 2 public bicentennial events at Village Hall in April and June, as well as one at Montgomery Fest in August that will commemorate and celebrate this milestone for our state. And before I close today, I need to recognize a Montgomery resident who's made a real difference in this community. And Herschel Luckenbill is here with us today. He's the president of the Fox Valley Veterans Breakfast Club and has been influential in the local Honor Flight program. Also repairing the Spanish-American War Canyon at the Riverside Cemetery and is active in other local veteran organizations. This past summer, he spearheaded an effort to install a flag and appropriate grave marker at the St. Paul Lutheran Cemetery at the corner of Douglas and Montgomery Road. For Walter Trumper, he's the only Medal of Honor recipient in the Fox Valley area. Herschel has worked hard for many years now to help local veterans and to make sure that their service is never forgotten. A community is only as good as the people who live there, and we're fortunate to have Herschel and many other good people like him to help make our community a great place to live. Thank you, Herschel, for all of you have done and continue to do for our residents and our veterans. Thank you. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. I really do appreciate your involvement and your dedication to Montgomery and moving us forward. What you do for our residents and for our businesses is very important to me and to our staff and to folks here in Montgomery. So with that, I thank you. You're welcome to all of the food in the back. And enjoy yourself and really have a great week. Thank you.